Hey, my name is Brian. That is Shane. This is the Popcast, and today we're talking about the news, baby. This is the Friday feed, the Friday update. This is our news show. We do it every Friday, hopefully. And today we got some sad news, and some not so sad news, and some downright terrifying news. So stay tuned. But first, don't forget our 3,200 sub milestone giveaway. Once we get to 3,200 subscribers, we're going to be doing a contest, and we're going to be picking one of those subscribers to win the gaming console of his or her choice. Also, this episode is brought to you by Optimism Shovel. If you don't know what this is, you're not cool enough.
That's cool. What game is that from?
I don't know.
No, it's from just came out just before Fortnite became popular. This is the popular one. What was the one of the most recent ones that came out where they could run around and what is it?
Far Cry? PUBG?
Far Cry. This is from Far Cry, yes.
By the way, you can find this shirt and a lot more on mixtees.com. Use coupon code Shane or Brian for 30% off.
And if you guys have been paying close attention, we are now down to 0 videos.
Videos!
For the free boxing that we do for one lucky contestant, one lucky commenter, subscriber. Next week, we'll be doing that. So make sure you stay tuned. Get your comments in on the show today. This will be the last time you can do it to get in on that free box of goodies.
That's it. Okay. So, the first story we're going to be talking about today is one very close to Shane and I's heart because we are a couple fat guys that like to watch food TV. It's Anthony Bourdain, dead at 61. I guess he committed suicide. This is truly tragic because when I can't eat, I like to watch other people cook food. Yeah, I'm a glutton for punishment. It's like porn for fat people.
Yeah, Anthony Bourdain, and that's true. Anthony Bourdain, he's an award-winning chef. He's on a show most recently where he travels all around the world, tries crazy food. He was found dead this morning in his room at a luxury hotel in the tiny village of Kaiserberg, basically in northeast France. So he appeared to have hanged himself, according to the region prosecutor, apparently, there.
Interesting.
So the cause of death is still under investigation, but it's an apparent hanging. Bourdain has talked a lot about he had a prior drug problem, drank a little too much alcohol, suffered from just some depressiveness, and after what happened to Robin Williams and a few other significant suicides, it's just really sad to see this, and just a reminder that when people are feeling like despairing or down and just don't want to get out of bed in the morning, it's time to talk to somebody. So
right, and if you're one of those people that are having a hard time, there's a lot of, if you don't have anybody to talk to, you don't have a hefty older brother you can call in your time of need, like I do, then you got to hit up a suicide hotline. There's national suicide hotlines listed all over the place. Make the call, talk to somebody today, because your life is valuable, regardless of whether you're Anthony Bourdain or a couple fat guys doing a podcast.
Yeah, and if you want one right now, just, if you're feeling that way, the U.S. National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is 800-273-8255. Give them a call if you need somebody to talk to. Send us an email. We'll talk to you.
Yeah, we'll talk to you all day long.
No, everybody's dealt with that stuff. I wish Anthony Bourdain had someone to talk to, whatever he was going through. I think that a lot of times in these situations, Brian, I think when people are feeling this way, I think they've lost a connection with other people in their lives. So when you don't have a meaningful connection with another human being, I think that's when you get cut off and surrounded by despair, and then you start thinking these bad thoughts. So it's important that you stay connected with people, have friends, things like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about some even sadder news. I'm kidding. This is not sad.
Sadder than that?
No, I'm making a joke because it looks like HBO ordered a pilot for a new Game of Thrones TV series. But before you get happy, It's a prequel. A prequel.
Oh, well.
George R.R. Martin has decided he doesn't need to finish what he's working on now. He wants to talk about stuff that happened before, I guess. And they hired Jane Goldman. Of course, she has pink hair to show run and write the new series with George R.R. Martin.
Well, you know, my theory has always been that George is not going to finish the series because, you know, he's living La Vida Loca. He doesn't want to stop this train from going. So he knows if he finishes it, then that's the end. And
why not finish it and write another series or continue the series?
Because he's written several series, and this is the only series that ever really did anything for him. Not really. I mean, you know, he's written other stuff that's good, but this made him a phenomenon. I feel like he's just like, well, I'm just going to stretch this out as long as I can. Brian doesn't like prequels.
No.
Now, this doesn't suit the same for everybody else. I actually would like to see a Game of Thrones prequel because there's a lot of history that takes place in this world that doesn't necessarily tie into the events that are happening today, if that makes sense. Oh. You know, I'd love to see how the land was populated, the people that were there before. That would be interesting.
So it would be interesting, but I gotta say, the problem here's okay. So it sounds like unreasonable. Why does Brian like prequels? Well, let me tell you why I don't like prequels. Okay, prequels is a giant series of foreshadowing where you already know what ultimately happens, and that says for Star Wars. I didn't like those prequel series.
Wait. What? Here's the thing, though. What if you don't? I mean, isn't it nice just to know what the story was, to be able to see this? You may have known what happened. Isn't it nice to just see the story? Like, I mean, just more. Not
when it's a regurgitated version of the story you already know, and that story has already happened. So, for instance, here's a perfect example. You can't see on my wall, but to my left, I have a gigantic 48-inch by something Stargate poster. Okay. I am a massive Stargate fan. In fact, I would say out of Star Wars, Star Trek, and Stargate, Stargate for me is the best of the best. I love Trek and I love Wars. They're both great. In fact, that's another question. I'm not sure which one I like more. They're both really amazing. They're amazing. I'm a huge fan of both the series. But if you were like, hey, there's a Stargate, a Star Trek, and a Star Wars movie opening on the same day, it wouldn't even be a question. I would see the Stargate movie first. I love that and I love that movie, and I love the series even more. Stargate SG-1. What's that?
I would see the Star Trek movie first.
And you know what? I would probably see the Star Trek movie second, considering where we're at right now in the Star Wars universe.
So what's up? Does Stargate have a prequel
Stargate
like or something?
made a brand new show. So they made this streaming service where they go, hey, sign up for the streaming service. You get access to every Stargate episode ever made. And in addition to this prequel brand new series, web series, where we're doing these 15-minute episodes every week. And, you know, because I'm starving for Stargate content, of course, and it was cheap. It was like $20 a year or something. It's really cheap. $20 a year. You get a t-shirt. You get access to all their shows. So even that alone is worth the $20. I can watch whatever I want, whenever I want, only from my computer. It doesn't work on anything else. And I get a t-shirt for $20? Cool. Now, the quality is sort of subpar. I'd rather use Hulu or Netflix, but I still signed up to support the cause, and I was interested in watching that web series. And what's really funny is the guy that played, if you know the series, the guy that played the protagonist in Atlantis, the human wraith hybrid guy, and he was also on Star Trek Enterprise. He was one of the main characters in the prequel. He was like the father or something of the woman that finds the Stargate. Anyways, I thought it would be great, and I started watching it. And aside from the fact that the acting was subpar, the production was subpar, the writing was subpar, they would go through the gate. They would have these little adventures, and they're learning stuff about the gate and about who they're talking to. And I'm realizing I already know who they're talking to. I already know what that gate does. I already know where that place is. all these little Easter eggs and little things that the audiences, that the characters are discovering, I already know the answers to. So it's fun to watch the adventures of the first people that ever used the gate, but they're learning something that I already understand and know 100%. So where's the titillation?
So there are no surprises.
Right.
There are no surprises, but you're right. So if you're into it because you want to learn something, which is a big part of who you are as a person, I get that. And what draws you to it. But there's also something to be said just for the sake of entertainment value. So for example, watching, even though it was Hayden Christensen playing Darth Vader, it was enjoyable for me to watch the transformation of that occur, to watch the story of Darth Vader actually come into place. Even though it wasn't a great movie, I still am glad that I was able to watch that. Does that make sense?
I mean, listen, like those movies are they're sort of a little bit outside this argument too, because those characters we know, but we didn't know anything about those characters when they're born out. So that was a little different, and we had heard references to their adventures, but never actually got the full story. That's a slightly different. And honestly,
you're going to get that here.
If the prequels were done correctly, then I would have liked them too. But Jar Jar Binks.
I mean, you're right. 100%.
I'm just going to say Jar Jar Binks and be done with it.
Well, here with getting Sith Lord, by the way, Jar Jar Binks. Let's get this straight.
That's right. He is a Sith Lord. I am almost positive now that theory that I thought was a joke is legitimate.
Yeah, that's true. But see, the thing with Game of Thrones is that you're going to get, probably what I'm guessing is you're going to get when the dragon family comes, basically how they got started, how they took over, how they became how they ruled the land. You're going to see that, which really has nothing to do with what's happened now.
Okay, I mean, you're right. That's a little different because we've heard references to the Targaryens, right?
Right.
And that seems like a very interesting, like the whole dragon series, where they're like this whole dragon family. We know that their kingdom fell, but if it goes back farther enough, that part of it won't matter to us.
Right.
Their victories and losses could be surprises to us, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they could end it with Jaime, cutting off the king's head in the final, or something like that, which leads you to basically the new series. And it would be very interesting, I think, to see how that happened. I was curious about how the first people got to that land, and it's a really great fantasy story, and I'm excited to get more of it. I actually am not as excited to watch it every week. I've already read the books, and so it's not as exciting for me to watch it on TV. This will be a little funner because there are no books for the prequels. So
right, okay, that's fair enough. All right, I'll give it that.
Okay.
Here, by the way, here's an example of what I was saying before. Our next story is about a group of superheroes with amazing abilities. They can do amazing things. They've saved the world multiple times, and you are going to be able to see them even more in future seasons and episodes and movies regarding the MCU. Now, if you fast forward like a minute from now, you're going to be disappointed. But right now, listen, right at this moment, you're like, oh, what is this? What is this next news story? Oh my God, right?
So disappointed when you say it.
Now, but if you went a minute from now, knew what I was talking about, and then came back and watched this part would not be exciting to you anymore.
Not at all.
Because you know the answer.
Right.
That's a prequel. That's a lot of prequels are just like that for me.
I don't know. You got to give more examples of prequels you don't like if you want to go. I mean, I know you hate prequels, which I'm not sure why. What do they have prequels of that you've seen that you hate?
Everything.
Okay. All right. But listen,
let's move on to The Hobbit. Like,
that's a prequel?
That's a prequel, bro. All right. So when I was younger, I read The Hobbit, and then I read Lord of the Rings, and then I read The Silmarillion.
Okay.
And then I read C.S. Lewis and Screw Tape Letters and Narnia. I read them all in series, and I enjoyed myself immensely. What a read. Hours and weeks and years of fantasy enjoyment. when Lord of the Rings came out, I liked the movies. I wasn't like amazed about it like everybody else was, but I was like, these are good movies, proper done. Only thing I wish they would have done, I wish they would have started with The Hobbit. And then,
well, they couldn't. They couldn't.
And then they give us The Hobbit, and there's a reason why that movie didn't do very well. It's not just that there's problems in the movie, but like people already know the basic outcome of that ring and what happens.
Well, okay, so they do give you a little bit at the beginning of Lord of the Rings, a little bit of backstory on basically what happened with the ring, which they don't give you in the Lord of the Rings book itself. So they actually stole that in the original story. So if you've only seen the movies and you haven't read the novels, then yeah, you're going to get a little bit of what happened to the ring in the beginning. But to be frank with you, Bilbo's story is the best story of all of them. It's The Hobbit's better than the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I agree, but not the movie.
Well, not the movie. The Lord of the Rings movies are epic.
And I actually like the actor that played the Hobbit in The Hobbit a lot more.
Yeah.
Than the homoerotic version we got in Lord of the Rings.
Well, it was homoerotic in the books too, so I don't know what to say.
Then it was perfect casting.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, yeah, they loved each other. So the point is that, well, yeah. So Bilbo finding the ring was a really big deal. Okay, it was. So that's not a prequel. And if they go back and the way they shot it and the way they did it, they screwed the entire thing up. They focused on the wrong things. They did some weird stuff with the elves that never happened. And so that's why the movie was bad.
But Shane, it's not just okay. So the storytelling trope of knowing already what happens is a mild annoyance to the fact that most prequels are not done correctly in the first place, because the movie or the TV show is trying to cater to the fandom that already watched that first series, and so now they're going back, and so they put a lot of unnecessary Easter eggs and connections, just like they did in Hobbit, into a movie or book, and they usually screw up the story in the process.
Right, but the idea of doing a prequel itself, unless you're hung up on having to have some sort of surprise or aha moment, if you already know the story, it's like, why go watch a new version of Beauty and the Beast? They've already made 3 or 4.
That's a great question.
Why go watch another one?
That's a great question. I didn't watch Beauty and the Beast.
Right, but and so there you go. But there are people who like this, who like to get a story, a variation on a story. I mean,
the only reason I like it when they remake something is now I can show my kids an updated, better version of this story. But it's almost like I'm precariously living through them, so like they can see what I enjoyed when I was a kid. I don't care to watch the new Beauty and the Beast. But I realized that the Beauty and the Beast that I saw when I was a kid might be dated, and it might be harder for them to watch. Right.
No, they're not going to enjoy it. And so you have to look at it that way. And I think if you watch The Hobbit, you should have gotten a whole new story. It wasn't that enjoyable. There were some major problems with it. But if they'd done it like Peter Jackson did Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit would have been fantastic. You should never bring up the subject of The Hobbit. My favorite books of all time.
Dude, I'm right there with you. After the C.S. Lewis books, Tolkien's books are my favorite. Okay. Shane, I need you. I know we're supposed to be moving on to this next story, but I one more thing about this. Give me one good prequel, TV show, movie, audiobook, comic book, anything. Any kind of form of media that dealt with a prequel. Give me one good one, and I'll shut up.
All right, you ready for it?
Yeah.
The Maze Runner prequel. Amazing.
Okay, no one knows what the hell that is, so I can't confirm or deny.
3 movies.
I thought you were going to say Enterprise, dude. That's the only time it ever worked for me.
No, I mean that's not even really a prequel. Prequel is
technically it's a series that's gone back in time.
It just happened before them. They don't even hardly reference the Enterprise. My point is,
this is why it was good. This is why it was good.
If you're looking for a book to read, go find the Maze Runner series. Read the first one, the prequel, the very first one that talks about how how the disease actually happened and occurred. Amazing. None of the main characters.
That's cheating because no one can call you on that because no one's going to read a 400-page book to either confirm or deny whether or not that was a good version. Like they got to not. First of all, they have to read the actual Maid Runner series, and then go back and read that book. You're asking someone to confirm your theory to put like at least 3 weeks of their life into something. That's not fair.
I think Marcus will do it.
He might. Marcus, we love you so much. All right, let's move on. Like I said, a superhero team with fantastic powers, a la sci-fi, and they're in space, and they're all about family. And no, I'm not talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, and no, I'm not talking about the Avengers or even X-Men or anything from DC. I'm talking about the Inhumans.
There it is, finally.
Guess what, everybody? The Inhumans, even though the show was canceled, the characters are here to stay. They are part of the MCU, says the showrunner, and we're going to see them in upcoming TV series and movies. Wow.
Sad.
Who cares? Let this horrible thing die. It was so bad. It was such a bad experiment.
That guy in the front who played Black Bolt, he's the only one who's any good.
Yeah, he's the only decent actor of this bunch, dude. And yes, I'm also talking about Ramses in the far back right. I'm sorry.
No, he was terrible.
Maybe you liked him in Game of Thrones, but in this show, he was a worse, not in a good way. Like he was a worst acted version of the character he played in Game of Thrones, but with a PG rating. Like who cares?
Yeah, he's bad, and we don't mean good bad, like bad.
Yeah, he's like bad. Apparently, we're going to see these characters again, and I can care less.
I won't be watching it, but okay.
Oh, my God. Okay. Next up is a sequel and a prequel. Oh, God. And a TV show.
Another prequel.
Oh, God. About a series that holds deep to heart. That'd be Kingsman. Matthew Vaughn has announced that there will be a Kingsman sequel, a Kingsman prequel, a TV show, and even a statement miniseries. And that's exciting to me because I love this series. I gotta be honest, if there was gonna be a prequel I'd be interested in, it might be this one. I would like to know how their organization got set up. That's it.
Okay, that would be cool.
Because they never explained that. Like, how did the whole thing get set up? How did it work?
I just don't want them to flush the entire system with, we're going to have, it's just going to be all over the place. I mean, a TV show, more movies, later movies. I mean, it's just like, okay, I know they want to create something around this. It's a great show. Great movie.
Yeah, great movies. Maybe it's over a period of like 10 years and not like how Star Wars is doing like basically a couple movies a year. It's which is like super fatigue for me.
Yeah, it's too much. Just one a year.
I don't think we're gonna see like 2 TV shows, a prequel, and a movie all in a 2-year span. I think we're gonna see at least a couple years between each movie.
Yeah, and they really probably need to do a third movie before they do. I don't know. You don't have. It's not a rule or anything like that, but it seems like there should be another movie before they do prequels. So.
Well, he did say in this order. He said there'll be a sequel, a prequel, a TV show, and then a whole Statesman series.
Okay.
So if it's in that order, then
might be okay.
Cool.
He's got the next 10 to 20 years of his life planned out. We're good.
Yeah. All right. And in about an hour of each of those years, I'll be there in that seat watching. So
we'll be ready. Keep the good filming. Keep the awesome action shooting going the way he does. It's going to be great.
The action is just so it's like watching a stage production, like a dance, bro.
Yes. And give me a little Elton John again every once in a while.
Oh God. People gave that sequel a hard time, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
It's amazing.
It was so amazing.
Yeah.
And like
awesome. Better than the first one.
Yes, it was. And it went yes, it was more overboard, which is what we wanted to see. And and when I thought Elton John was going to be like this like little cameo that no one cared about, he was a character in the film, and it was fantastic.
He was huge. It was awesome.
Yes, guys, if you have not seen Kingsman and Kingsman: The Golden Circle, go watch them. You're depriving yourself of amazing storytelling and choreography. And it's a beautiful thing to watch for reals.
100%. Love it.
All right, next up, this is a little bummer here. Kelly Marie Tran, she plays Rose Tico in that travesty of a movie, episode 8. She's been harassed by fans so harshly and so often, right, that she had to delete her social media. And I gotta say, if people out there are holding episode 8 against Rose here, yeah, you're dumb. It's not her fault.
Stop.
She's an actress. Leave her alone.
Yeah, she's just doing what she's told.
In fact, if you're going to harass anybody, go harass the director of that movie. And I'm not telling you to. I'm just saying, if you're going to,
give Rian Johnson some crap.
Rian Johnson is the guy that ruined Star Wars for you, not Kelly Marie Tran. She's just an actress, man.
Go give J.J. Abrams some crap while you're at it, too, because he should have stuck around for the second one.
Yeah, I mean, like, J.J.'s problem was that he didn't stick around to finish what he started. Got it. Right. Rian Johnson.
Ooh, that's standard J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, that's what he does. He decimated the Star Wars universe. It's going to take years to recover from what he did. I saw a video the other day, not trying to get off topic, where someone was like, look, Rian Johnson destroyed the Star Wars universe and I have proof. And I'm like, okay, well, this is obviously going to be some fan yelling about Rian Johnson again for like an hour. But I gave it a shot. And the guy had a really good point. He said, when Rian Johnson introduced the hyperspace destruction scene where the pink-haired feminist admiral, whatever her name is, when the chick from Jurassic Park with purple hair,
Laura Dern,
whatever her name is, I don't care, when that horrible actress booted that thing into hyperdrive and took out like a fleet of first order ships, and it was like the scene where you're like, oh, that's so cool. That right there ruined the Star Wars universe, because if you can do that, if you can always win a fight that way, then Star Wars, the battles that we know and love, the way like the whole universe works, no longer works, because that is a much cheaper and a more effective way of winning fights.
That's a good point. You sacrifice one person in a ship, right?
Oh, not even a person. How about just remote control that thing? How about get one of those big rebel ships, hyperspace it into the Death Star? Do we require any more a new dogfights and TIE fighters and all that? No.
That's a good point.
Someone was like, "Well, but bro, the hyperspace drives are expensive." Every single X-wing has one.
Yeah, so is the Death Star. So it's cool.
Yeah, every X-wing has one. Every single ship except for our TIE fighters have this drive. So he's being able to do this breaks the in-universe physics that other storytellers prior to him had set up, rules that you had to base your movies on. He broke those rules. Not even talking about the other stuff with the gravity and all that, but like just being able to do that ruins the series. So yes, it's not Kelly's fault. It's Rian Johnson's fault. Go talk to him. She didn't do anything wrong. Leave her alone.
Kelly, we don't care if you're in the next movie or not, but it's not your fault and don't feel bad.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's funny, when I heard this story, I actually went to the only social media page she had up, I think it was Facebook, and I left a comment like, hey, you're great, even if Star Wars was bad.
Good on you, man. You're a good guy.
All right, next up, aside from Bourdain's death, this might be the worst news. Facebook is launching its own news station.
Oh my gosh, you put fake news, misinformation, and silencing speech.
Sorry, guys. Facebook is launching its own news station. Does anybody think that this is going to be fair and balanced to any degree? Does anybody think that a Facebook news station is going to be nothing but a propaganda ad machine for whatever narrative that they decide to tote that week? I'm sorry. Who would watch this crap? Who would watch this?
No, listen, I predict that this is going to fail incredibly.
Miserably.
This is going to fail so bad This is I want to say this is Mark Zuckerberg's way of taking back control, the way he's going to try to do that. The problem is he's really made too many mistakes, and this is just late. There's already tons of this out there. Facebook launching one. It's a grasping at straws.
It's
not like he's hurting for money, but
yeah, there's a bunch of smaller alternative media style news, about both left and right things already on Facebook that Facebook is, constantly shoving down and not allowing to get searched and shadow banning, because of a plethora of issues, just constantly hiding behind we're a private company, we can do what we want, defense, and silencing people's ability to speak on what I would argue is definitely now a public forum. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. 2018, Facebook, Twitter, these are public forums. You silencing people that you either like or dislike is anti-free speech. Period. That's it.
Good point.
And so he's going to try. Now they're going to try to compete with those people. Great, awesome.
Yeah, it's interesting news. It's kind of it's a little late. They should have done this probably 2 years ago, when it would have been much more probably beneficial, much more interesting. All the young people have made a mad dash for Instagram, which Facebook owns. So it's just interesting to see how this is going to turn out. I don't see it succeeding, but we'll see.
Hey, can somebody reboot Mark Zuckerberg? I think that his programming has been corrupted, and his robotic tendencies are not working right. Just like hit the reboot button on the back of his brain, because he's becoming less and less human on a daily basis. Yeah,
he needs a reset. That's a great way of putting it. He just needs some perspective. I think he sees people like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, and I think he wants to stay in that limelight, kind of like they are, and so he's pushing the envelope and trying to be a player. But I don't know. This doesn't feel right.
Not happening, sure. Zuck.
We'll see what happens.
Go home, Zuck. You're drunk. Go home.
Call me a cab. Never mind. Give me my keys. Give me my keys.
Cut off time, Zuck. Go home.
Give me my keys.
Turn off the internet. All right. That's it for the Friday feed. It's actually went a lot longer than I thought it would. I apologize.
A little bit.
Yeah. But that's it. That was all the news this week. No, okay, it wasn't all the news this week. There's a lot more than this. Obviously, we cherry-picked the information that we thought, we could talk about from an educated perspective, or maybe it hit us home, like with Anthony Bourdain, or things that we like or dislike, or had some conversation about. So that's why we got this news.
I'll leave you one more thought before we go, and we really have to go. Terrell Owens, very famous football player, wide receiver for the 49ers and several other teams, is actually going into the Hall of Fame this year. He was voted in, but he said he's not going to attend and be enshrined. First time in history this has ever happened. It's a big deal. If you're a football fan, you've probably heard that.
Why?
Crazy stuff. Nobody knows exactly sure why, but he's got a questionable character anyways, and so we're waiting to see. It's more than likely it has something to do with they didn't vote him in the first 2 years that he was eligible, and he takes that as a slight, so he's trying to get some payback. Problem is, it's really going to it's going to hit him in the back of the head on this one.
Maybe he's brain damaged from all those concussions.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, anyways, that's probably what it is. Terrell, you heard it here first, here, guys. Terrell Owens is brain damaged.
Yeah, well, they knew that since he was younger too.
All right, that's it. Please subscribe below if you have not subscribed. Comment on this video. Let's get a dialogue going. Have a conversation. If you agree or disagree, we would like to hear it below. And if you haven't hit that alert button, do so now so you see our next video. We'll be back on Monday. Have a great weekend. Shane?
See you guys Monday.